My name's Amber and I will be discussing the crime scene investigator career and stress. Crime scene investigators process crime scenes for evidence. They take photos, package label, and transport evidence. Other duties include documenting autopsies, briefing investigators, and testifying in court. Because the job of crime scene investigation is so multifaceted, so are the job-related stressors that are common in this field. Showing up to a crime scene where the victim is still there would be very difficult. It would be important to learn how to deal with this situation, and because every crime and victim is different, it would be a major challenge. The victim could potentially damage the crime scene without even realizing it, or they may take their frustrations out on the crime scene investigator. Working alone would also be very challenging. It would likely become very overwhelming to have to face the task of investigating a crime scene alone. There would be an abundance of items to process, and being the only person working on it would be difficult and discouraging. If a crime took place in a dangerous part of town, it could become worrisome for the crime scene investigator. They may worry about their car being vandalized or possibly even worry for their own safety. If the crime scene took place in an untidy house, it'd be very overwhelming. It would be impossible to know which items the offender touched without checking all of them. There are thousands of items that could be in someone's home, from something as small as a thumbtack to something as large as a couch. Nothing can be overlooked because the smallest detail could be key to solving the crime. Stephen Standfast, a military and civilian national security background investigator, wrote The Police Supervisor and Stress. In this article, he stated, according to some doctors, as much as 70 to 90% of all illnesses have stress as the root cause. Not only does stress negatively impact our health, but it can also lead to increased levels of anxiety. Stress can also greatly impact the way crime scene investigators do their jobs. It can be very distracting and exhausting to have to constantly face stressful situations while on the job. One very common and dangerous consequence of job-related stress is burnout. This is when work is no longer a meaningful function. It can cause boredom, depression, and a powerful sense of alienation. Burnout can also be described as the point in a career when the employee dreads going to work even though they love and enjoy what they do for a living. This can be a particularly dangerous effect of stress in fields such as crime scene investigation, because it is especially important for people who have careers in the police field to stay focused and dedicated to their work. Crime scene investigators play a vital role in the criminal system, and many crimes will go unsolved if they begin to get burnt out with their careers. Due to the important role crime scene investigators play in our criminal justice system, it is vital that these stressors and their consequences be mitigated, and many can be through policy and procedural changes. The most immediate change that can be made to decrease crime scene investigator stress is the use of more detailed written policy. While it is likely that police departments already have written policies in place, there is always room for improvement. D.H. Garrison, an employee of the forensic unit in the Grand Rapids Police Department in Michigan, wrote, Protecting the Crime Scene. In this article, he said, the officer assigned to the crime scene's main entry log must log in all visitors, including name, rank, states the purpose, and arrival and departure times. This would prevent unnecessary visits to the crime scene. Every person who came in contact with the crime scene would be thoroughly documented. This would be very valuable if something happened, such as evidence being stolen, and would reduce crime scene contamination. Training and preparation can also be used as a long-term solution to stress. Another way to prepare is by taking trainings that show ways to deal with this stress. It would also be valuable to connect with people who are in the same situation. An example of this would be support groups. According to Police One, typically officers themselves report that recognition and support from their fellow officers constitute the most important stress mitigating factor they can identify. Having a support group of friends and coworkers who understand the stress and hardships of the career would greatly help decrease stress levels. It is clear that the crime scene investigator career can be very challenging and stressful for many different reasons. The field has been around for many years, but the people who are involved in this field still face unnecessary hardships that could quite possibly be prevented with the proper training and preparation. It is vital that we find ways to help crime scene investigators decrease their stress levels because without them we would have millions of unsolved crimes and millions of victims waiting for justice. Crime scene investigators play a significant role in putting criminals behind bars, and we need them now more than ever to have decreased amounts of job-related stress.